we're just here to say hi and
answer a few questions and
tell you a little bit about us, and then answer your questions, because so many people have questions. We just thought it would be an easy way to answer questions for people. So thank you all for joining us tonight. It's time is precious, and we appreciate your time. I'm just going to mute everyone for now. We'll get started, and people will come in as they do. Okay.
Can you hear us? Thumbs up or something?
Thumbs up if you can hear us. Okay. Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Thanks, John. Okay.
Yep. No, well, as you've probably worked out, we're Eric and Cathy. Mostly probably dealt with Cathy a lot through email and through different ways, and I'm just flicking away in the background. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming and listening and asking questions, and hopefully we can help you all to understand a little bit more about what we're doing and how we can.
Yep, just how we go about
it.
Healing work.
A few questions, and if you got some questions, and we can work on. Cathy had a few earlier.
Yeah, we'll do them in a little bit. Just want to share quickly, how we got started. We are just ordinary people. We had, our parents weren't hippies. We didn't have that upbringing where you didn't use chemicals and, you didn't go to doctor. We did all that. The doctors, the vets, the chemicals, the medications, all that. And it wasn't until our son was born when we were in our late 20s that we really started to look at things. And I think when you have a child, that's when you really do start to question the way you live your life. I had really bad postnatal depression with Jay, and we had to find some answers. The doctor was like, here, take some, antidepressants. And I went, well, it didn't feel right. Like, he assured me it was okay, but it just didn't feel right. So we battled through for a little while. Sorry, you can just admit people if you want. And then, we went on a trip, and we ended up at my aunt's place, and she was right into homeopathic medicines, and she could see I was struggling, and we had a chat about what was going on, and she guided us to her homeopath. So that's where we started. Jay was only, 7 months old. We went every month. We, discussed what was going on. She analyzed us. She gave us our monthly remedy and sent us home. So, that got me through. Our family survived okay with that process. And we continued with that. We started questioning the medicines and the chemicals, and the homeopath invited us to research vaccines. And we had vaccinated Jay up to 6 months. He had a reaction to his 6-month vaccine. This is back when, back in the time where they only had vaccines sort of at 6 months, 12 months, not this birth, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months.
Yeah, 98.
All that craziness.
Yeah.
So, it didn't take a lot for us to go, okay, well, let's look at the vaccines. Let's see, if we can get away with not doing that. And we really did leave the system at that point, and barely have we been back. We have 3 kids. Jay's 26 now, Hannah's 23, and Brock's 21, and they don't go to the doctor. They've never been. So, that's a testament to the fact you can step away from the system, that there are options, and that vibrational medicine does work. It's been this whole COVID thing has been amazing to find out that they expect vibrational medicines to be the medicines of the future. When Big Pharma's all blown up and gone, vibrational medicine will be what holds us through. So that was exciting for us, because we'd been on this journey for 22 years at that point when we found that. It took a while. We were kind of nice, a singular unit as a family. We treated ourselves vibration with the medicine, with the remedies, and then we started going out and meeting more people. And Eric was doing dog training. These people were coming to training on the weekend going, I've been at the vet all week. And I'm like, why do you go to the vet? We don't go to the vet. We had like a dozen dogs, and we don't go to the vet. And we realized they just didn't have what we had. So we realized we had something to share with them. And that's where Heal With Ease started. That was back in 2007. Yeah, so it's been quite the journey from there.
Yeah, no, it's been and ever growing and ever learning. We've been on a pretty major growth curve all the way through, so different aspects, and our homeopath didn't like what we're doing, so we couldn't go to her anymore, so we had to learn some other skills from other people, and then we ended up adding more and more of that to what we're doing, and everything we do now has been tested by us for probably 15, 18 years, and it's not just the basics of homeopathy remedies, but the principles are very similar to what we do with a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And then just go further and further research. We've had either Cathy or someone else full-time research for the last 12 years. So everything we find, everything that's new that come in, we have a full-time researcher working solidly on that. We've put together a pretty fair database there of that sort of information, which is helping now, but there's still more going in there all the time. So it just allows it's allowed us to look at a lot of different and interesting avenues to get to where we are, because it's not just one modality anymore. It's multiple modalities and multiple change of thoughts or thoughts of what's the word? Multiple different practices and modalities, and huge.
So we did. A lot of people ask us how we test healing plans for people, and it was in 2010 we met a gentleman by the name of Peter Esdale, and he is from Warwick in Queensland, and we were taking our family to him to receive some healing, and he does innate healing that combines the muscle testing of kinesiology, and then I think there is a tapping modality, and I think that's what he used to tap the healing into the spine, and
by holding different parts of the body, and you tap it down your spine and just set the memory or reset the memory so those issues aren't held in your body's memory. So we learned that issues were held for generational and multi-generational in the body's nervous system, and then we also learned how to release them. Homeopathy works on multi-generational sort of stuff when you look at genetics and the miasms and that sort of thing. So we knew that we could work that way with what we're doing. The hands-on stuff that Peter Esdale was doing was great and good stuff, but to get value out of a session, you needed quite a few different things cleared. So, and we found after a while that 3 or 4 would clear, and then the next time you went back, they'd work on you might do 8 for the session, so you might get rid of 3 or 4, and you'd have to do 4 of the last lot and then get 4 of the next lot. So you weren't getting, it was a big lot of work, and that's why now we separated our healing into 9 or 18-day plans to give people time for the healing to sink in and work through the nervous system and make the changes it needs to work, rather than
dumping a heap of healing in one go.
Dumping a heap of healing in one go. And the other side is the homeopathic model, where they give you one remedy for the month, or might give you a few maintenance remedies like physical sort of stuff, but they might give you one big miasm for the month and let that sink in and progress and manifest into the next lot of healing that shows up. And then they reassess and go again. With the muscle testing process, we tend to be able to avert a lot of speed that process up quite a bit, because we're not actually looking for a verbal or a physical change before we can give the next remedy. We're looking for it's actually showing up before it even happens with the muscle testing. So that means we can get quite a lot of healing in a short period of time, which most of you have experienced over the time, and make changes, and your body will continue to change and make changes after run of healing plans for years to come. It's only the new load that keeps coming on, and then down deep, the next layers that come on that keeps being need to be readdressed, sort of thing.
Yeah. So Peter taught us how to muscle test, and I think people use muscle testing in different ways. Some people just use them, I have used it to find a car park in a shopping centre. You can use it for anything. But when he showed us how to do that, we went, we could use this with homeopathic remedies. And there are about 2,000 proven homeopathic remedies. So that was a good place to start. But once you start muscle testing, you realize you can test for anything. So we added flower essences and gem essences, and then what they call nosodes, so vibrations of diseases and parasites and chemicals, all those things. So we could add them into our testing. And then along the path, you learn about, you know, the unseen stuff, the entities that attach to people, that affect the way they live. And then you realize that a lot of this stuff is not just now, a lot of it's inherited or possibly from past lives. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but we think that people carry trauma from past lives into this life.
Well, at least genetic trauma.
Genetic trauma, yeah.
Yeah, on an epigenetic level, or from parents and grandparents and all that sort of stuff. So there can be a line in it, or you could call it past lives, or you could call it genetic, whatever you want to believe in, that's fine.
Yeah, so we're just looking to clear. Our work is about identifying the load, and then clearing that load and identifying where that load is affecting the way your body's functioning. So, you know, we know that a lot of physical symptoms are caused from emotional trauma. So you clear the emotional trauma, then you have a chance of getting rid of these physical symptoms that people are carrying. So that's how we do our testing. We use a photo of you, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, the photo is still you. And we use that as a focus point while we do our muscle testing, and that tells us what's going on inside your body. So even if you don't know or you don't want to share, that information is available through the testing so that we can work with it.
And one thing we've found that it's never just emotions, or it's never just physical. It could be chemical. Like the bodies, we're being exposed to chemical on all fronts these days, in our food, in the environment, in every way you can turn. We're being exposed to different contaminants and chemicals, and the soil and the land and the air, and then you got the emotional trauma that you got mass consciousness, and you've got your own trauma to deal with. You got different stuff that you pick up on from day to day. So it's not just targeted at one side of the physical being. It's we're asking what's next, and that could be an organ that need adjusting, or it could mean a chemical to be released, or an emotional trauma, or a soul's trauma, or a soul spirit trauma, or it could be a entity, or it could be just endless different ways that you can look at it. But we just ask what's next. We don't say, well, we'll do the chemicals today and we'll do the bacteria today or the funguses, and we just what next out of the whole big picture, not just one little part of the picture. And I think that's why we get the results we get, because when we're open to whatever new that comes, we develop a process that even the most craziest ideas can be put inside that model, and we can, if they come up, that's fine. If they don't come up, well, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. They might come up from someone else down the track. So everyone's an individual. Everyone's got their own path. Everyone's healing is individual, and there's never no assumptions formed.
No, we work from a place of no assumptions.
Yeah.
Every person is individual. We hook in, people say, you know, what are you asking? Well, are we asking the universe, the mass consciousness, or are we asking the person's individual higher self? You know, what is it that needs to be cleared and healed today?
Yeah, or the morphogenic fields, or whatever it is, whatever you want to put your name on it. It could be whatever you like. But as I say, we just, what's next? What's the most important? What can we do to make a difference? And that's how we live our life.
Yeah, and that's how we do our healing. Somebody asked us, people sent some messages earlier in the week, how we do the distance transfer of the healing. So the photo is used as a focus point while we're testing the plants. And then the same photo is a conduit. It's an energetic conduit straight back to your body. So we can put that into our instrument.
This is, we use an instrument for that part.
Yeah.
All the testing is just done
Yeah.
biologically, just us. We don't ask a computer. Some of the radionic programs, they put a hair sample or they put a witness in as such, and they'll spit out a program to treat people, where we've stayed purposely away from someone else's assumptions and someone else's ideas of how healing should happen, and work with what people or what we find. And that's a real point of difference, because some of the programs are great, but if you get an order mixed up or things, you can have pretty major detox problems with them.
Yeah, we've seen that happen.
And we've seen that with some of us.
with some of the instruments that run a program on people.
Yeah.
Because they're one size fits all. You decide that's the program you're going to run. Well, that's right for John, and that's right for Mary, and for the dog, and it's not necessarily correct for all of them to run that whole program.
And it might not be the right order. Like an order and sequence and timing is everything. Like,
yeah, and we check all that. You know, we test what needs to be cleared and healed in your body. Then we prioritize, order it, and then every day we go in and we treat you with the next part of that healing plan. So it's a very manual process on our end. We're hands-on with it every day. Anything else that you want to share before we ask for questions?
That's a good start. We get a couple of questions, and then we can, if people got questions, they can put their hands up, and we'll go from there. And and that might take us off on another little jaunt once we get a question and a bit of base to work on. Like, we're pretty new to this game.
So I think if you raise your hands at the bottom.
Bev. Yeah. This one over here.
They keep moving.
On the bottom of your thing, there's a bar at the bottom.
Here we go. Unmute. Ona. Ona, can you unmute?
Hi.
Hi. So new to this.
Can you not hear me? It's honor, as in it's an honor to see you guys.
Oh, hello, Ona.
I'm just wondering. Hi. Wondering if you got my email, Kathy and Eric. When you're coming to Victoria.
Oh, about your tower. I had a little mix up with my emails on the weekend. Some of them went walkabout, but we have dates now. I think we were kind of waiting for dates to get back to you. We're going to leave here on the 11th of October.
Yeah.
So it'll be, as we work the dates through, it'll be sometime in the next week or two after that, but we'll set dates and we'll give you definite.
We'll definitely be in touch with email.
I just wanted to make sure you got it. I was starting to think, I might have sent it incorrectly or something.
I think your tower's
but you got it.
No,
not made. No, but we'll get it made, and we'll and I'll confirm dates with you.
Okay. Yeah, we're learning a little bit about song lines and ley lines, and so we started to look for portals and things, and I was hoping to work in with you guys when you came and see if you can see what we can see.
Sounds amazing. We look forward to it.
Yeah, we're
just using some dowsing rods to understand it a bit better.
Yeah, I use, to find that sort of stuff, I carry dowsing rods and use dowsing rods to find them. We're basically dowse and test. I'm not gifted with any visual sort of stuff. I just find out where I can find it with the tools I use, sort of thing. So
yeah, but very interested to see what you.
Well, I guess we're doing both. We're kind of like, I'm more. Well, Sid's more visual than I am. We're both artists, but he works more visually than I do. I work more psychically. And so we're doing dowsing rods, but we're also using visuals just for confirmation, and then we'll muscle test after we've done that. So we're really interested to hear what you see and feel and experience when you get here.
So did you find a portal on your property?
Did you get my photos? Did you get all my photos, Kathy?
Of your property? Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Terrific. Okay, over and out. Let someone else go.
Did you find a portal on your property?
Yes, very big. but the river comes straight in. It's just unbelievably powerful. And we can see all the animals are respecting it as well.
Wow.
So that's why I'm really keen to show you.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
I look forward to that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Anna.
Terrific. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Anyone? Who's next?
Anyone else have questions?
Yes, I have.
Who we got?
Hello. How
I
you
have
doing?
some. Hello. Hello, Kathy. And very nice to connect with you. I'm so grateful that Daniela recommended me to you. I was impressed with the email you sent me about the diagnosis about Leo. Amazing, and amazing your website. It is the work you're doing. It is. I'm really very grateful for what you're doing, the light work you're doing for all of us. It's amazing. I have some questions. You said before that you clear the emotional trauma, which is important. My question is, when you clear the emotional trauma, does it come on the surface to that person that you clear it? I mean, does it feels it? Does it, or no? Have you checked if it comes up just as a feeling, or
Different people will react in different ways, and some people will release trauma or things that have caused it, and not realize it's actually happened. But they'll have different discussions. They'll realize what's happened earlier in life that might have caused it, so the memory may come to the surface. And then you've got to deal with some of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I guess if the memory is yours, like if the trauma is your personal trauma, but if it's an inherited trauma, which we often see, then you have no frame of reference to release it. So some people will release it with just a heap of tears and not even understand why. But if it's a trauma from your childhood, you could feel a huge lightening of your load. Physical symptoms that have come from that trauma will release at the same time. So it depends, I think, on the individual. But yes, definitely, there was times when a lot of people have said they felt that shift.
And if someone goes through it, and Kathy's pretty strong with you on the emails all the time, so if someone's having difficulty with something like that, just let us know and we can give you a couple extra remedies to help with that. Just the emotional side or the physical, depends on what symptoms come to the surface. Like the plans are good and we get most things covered, but sometimes they need a little bit extra support with just a day-to-day thing to work on the grief or whatever has come to the surface.
Yeah.
Amazing, an amazing team. You support so much. Amazing. My other question is that what is the optimum frequency of a human body? I mean, in hertz or whatever, however you find it out. You find it.
Well, how long is a piece of string? I don't think the where that information came from, which was the Hawkins, Dr. Hawkins?
Is it Robert Hawkins?
Robert Hawkins, what's the energies of consciousness, and that was what we based it from on originally. We've found that that's not the feelings at the bottom level there. They run pretty true with the emotional state of people, like the love and the peace and the all those sorts of things. But as far as optimal, I think that like 1,000 hertz or even 2,000 hertz is the higher the better. That gives you a bigger range and more resilience in your body to cope with different traumas and not be a reactive sort of process. So it's only a guide, and it was a universal guide that we could find. As far as solid basis and where people needs to be, very few people we come across or even work with without support from other tools get much over 300, 400 hertz sort of thing. And that's where we were when we started, about that 320 or something, when we started measuring that. So yeah, that's why we branched out into some of the tools that we make and use. And we've been testing a lot of other products for a long time, trying to find, before we started with our own stuff, tool like tensor rings and all sorts of stuff, Tesla plates, to try and work out what worked and what didn't. And we yeah, it's a hard task. And at the moment, I think not many people are viewing it and looking at it in the level we're looking at that sort of information.
Yeah. On the David Hawkins chart, he talks about 600 hertz as being the vibration of love, peace, vibration of peace. And that is a really, like, when people are up there, they're actually running really well. And if you can maintain that, like load hits us, every minute of every day, something is in our face. And if we can hold our vibration high, up there is a good place to kind of to level out, and you can deal with crisis in life as it happens pretty easily at that level.
Yes, and then you cannot attune with a lot of frequencies of viruses or any other if you are in that optimum frequency. Maybe you cannot attract other things.
There's still, you don't attract them, but you still get hit by things. So we're still living in a,
they're not on the same level to get them.
yeah. There's not as many of them that get you, but with the environment we live in, like we're all got the lights on, and the people without the camera on are sitting in front of the computer, and that's 60 hertz in Australia, and the computer, I'm not sure where it is, about that 70 hertz, the EMFs from the computer. So we've been exposed to low frequencies all the time, and that's why it's so hard to stay at in a higher space. Most of our food's grown on country that is only running at 30 and 40 hertz sort of thing, or 30 units, whatever you want to call it, whether it's hertz or units, or I use hertz just as an easy reference. It's probably not exactly what they are, but it's just something that we can associate with and measure and understand. But yeah, constant exposure to low energies and different things. You're never immune to life and the environment and what happens, but you can be better prepared and better protected by being higher.
Correct. Yes. Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So anyone?
Hey, lovelies, can I jump in quickly? Kath, just a quick thing. I'm not certainly aware of the fact that there are some questions being popped into the general chat. There's one from JG that she'd probably love you to answer. I'd like just to ask my question quickly, if it's possible. We've been fortunate enough to get your lovely, the lovely pendants, the little discs, little cards. I'm curious as to whether those, do you remotely revamp those at a point, or is there frequency that they are issued or that they arrive in our own realities in? Does that maintain a constant, or does that change with our frequencies as our frequencies change? Or do you basically give them a little bit of a kickstart every now and again and freshen them up? I'm just wondering, are they a vibrant and living type of thing, or is it just that it comes out static with a particular capacity to do something in terms of raising frequency, and it just stays like that? Because I'm getting the feeling state, and this probably gets on to another question later about the universal energy towers, which might not be appropriate now. It's just to understand how those, how these things actually, are they a vibrant, changing element, or is it that they come out static, stay with us in a frequency as we consistently have them in our environments?
Well, I'll endeavour to answer that the best I can, Sue. When we started out with the first information, we treated ourselves like we're about that 330. So I said, all right, we'll lift our family to about 600. So we lifted everyone in the family to 600, and we sat there and shook for a couple of days as our energies changed. We lifted ourselves over the fence. And then about a week later, I said, we might see if we can lift ourselves further. So we lifted ourselves up to about 800 or 1,000 or something like that. And once again, we laid there for 3 days shaking And our bodies, because we'd done so much healing work at that time, there was no resistance or no barriers in our body to stop energy lifting. So it's sort of like a built-in resistance level that is naturally, and that's what we're clearing with the healing plans. It could be chemicals, emotional, trauma, whatever it is, it gets to a point and you've got to clear that next thing for your body to lift. And it's like doing the inner work, as some people call it. So the first ones, we thought, well, the little grey cards, they run at about 600 hertz because that was a safe lift for most people to cope with. And if they had no boundaries, if you go from 300 to 600, that's a big enough shock for your body, and it was a safe lift. And we once we got ourselves over that, we thought, oh, we need something to support us. We're up near 1,000. So we made the gold cards, and not many of them people have got them. They're 1,000 hertz, right? So that's if you're in that next bracket. So it supports you above that, above the 600, but to about 1,000. And then we found, once we were doing this, and back to the question about what's the optimal, and then we started to learn that people could be a lot above that, or stock or sheep or dogs or property could be a way over and above that, just 1,000. So we decided not to limit ourselves at 1,000, and that's why the pendants are what they are, and they are a living, growing article. They'll keep going in hertz and rise as long as you're doing the work. They'll keep rising. There's no restrictions, no boundaries. And part of that is then we use that in our tower technology, the UETs and stuff, and even in the travel buddies. So there's no boundaries. There's no boundaries. They can go as high as what's physically possible, and we don't know what that is yet. And look,
wow,
like our property is running, I don't know, you start testing and dowsing, and we do everything with testing and dowsing, so it's only what we find and antidotal on a lot of people's ideas. But when our tower reached 50,000 hertz, I asked, when was the property last at that level? And it was something like 60,000 years ago.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right. So it was, oh, well, it's possible, and it has been there before. And now our properties, when it reached the next barrier, next thing, it's stabilised now near that 100,000 units or whatever it is, which sounds unbelievable for a lot of people. And it's been there for a couple of months now, 2 or 3 months, and hasn't moved from that point. And so whether that's the optimal at the top, or that's the top boundary, who knows? Like, it might be just working through, as a tower works through different issues, you'll see them fluctuate. They'll go up and down. I keep the records and watch them every month. So they'll rise and they'll come back if there's something happens, and then they'll rise again. But they consistently, the way the drive and the way things set up in it, it's consistently designed to clear and raise, as to
oh wow,
to whatever's possible. And then that brings, as you get higher, your understanding, and you look deeper into information that goes further and further down what people would call the rabbit hole, but we call in just trying to find things and find out what's really been happening, and where these boundaries and where these restrictions have come from. And then you get into the seals, and you get into the Anunnaki, and you get into all that sort of stuff when you start digging deep enough. And
sure,
is it true or not? Who knows? But you put it in the information, and if it comes up, you use it. If it doesn't come up, well, you went down the wrong hole, and you take a step back and go down the next one. Like, ever evolving, no boundaries, and let things happen as they need to happen. Does that answer the question?
Thanks, Eric. I think so. Well, it just probably in the immediate, yes, but it probably opened another whole can of worms. But thank you very much. No, it was just I was curious as to know whether we were limiting the capacities of these beautiful things that we have in our lives, or whether they were ever an organically growing process of being able to support us as we were doing our work. So thanks, Eric. That was a great answer.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask Eric into that? The pendants, I have that they can adjust to the new frequency, and that's fantastic. It's like a living thing. Do the cards as well do that? The cards you have,
The
or
cards,
only?
sorry, the cards are set on, like the silver card's set on about 600, and the gold card's set on 1,000. And then when,
pendants as
yeah, and when we made the cards and we started doing some more dowsing and with the rods and the dowsing rods and the pendants, the pendulums and things like that, we worked out that they were really good on EMF. So EMFs are a lower, like that 60, 80 hertz sort of thing, or those units, whatever you want to call them. And it's even the 600 makes a whole bubble, which is a higher frequency. So instead of being the major frequency in the room, which is the 60, the major frequency in that space is the 600. So you're encapsulated in a higher frequency. The tap of the lower frequencies will trickle in, but they won't overpower it. And that's how they seem to work. They douse up that way, and it's been getting some pretty good results that way. The pendants do go up and down and fluctuate a bit more than that. They're set at 1,000, and to go be a live sort of a mover to keep going from there. And it's only being open. And
maybe as we grow, they adjust to a higher frequency as we go to our journey, as we grow. But fantastic, even the cards are the 600, as Kathy said, because before it is the peace energy, and encapsulate you in this beautiful energy, high frequency. They're fantastic. But I believe that if you want to support you more in your journey, in your spiritual journey, the pendant would have been fantastic, because it can adjust as you grow, or it even supports you into that, maybe.
And that's what they were designed for.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
When we got out of the way and accepted that we didn't, once again, we made assumptions when we made the first cards, and all those assumptions we learn as we go along, we might not be quite right. So we've tried to adjust that further as we've gone along, and they're still great things. We've got a lot of cards there, and they're doing a great job for a lot of people, and they're like a Reiki session in your pocket sort of thing. But yeah, it's just we've learnt more, we've grown more, and in time, like we're not set in stone. Things are going to change, and where we are at the moment, there's no knowledge out there to draw off. It's just our experience to see what we can do and what's available to us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Who's next? Got any questions in the question board, Kathy?
Jan had a question. She just wanted to know, Jan wanted to know if it was just us or whether there are other people sending the transfer of the healing. So it's just Eric and I, and Leanne, who works in the office with us every day, will go in and do the transfer of each individual person's healing. Yeah. And it does take many, many hours, and we are dedicated to the process.
Look, Leanne and I will stand there most days between 2 and 3 hours treating different people. And everyone's an individual. Everyone gets exactly what they need on that day. The special tonics, we even, as we've gone forward, the tonics and the constitution, with the learning from Jill Turlin about mega potencies, we test the individual potency every day for some of those remedies. So nothing is standard, nothing is assumed. We test that on an individual basis for everyone we're treating on the day, to work out what potency or what combination. Like this might be two tonics and a constitutional, or two constitutional and a tonic, and those three will be tested through every day to fit the individual needs each day, and then the next remedy off the plan will go with that, and that's set, but because we've tested it earlier in the piece. But so really individualize where you're at, what's going on today, and how can we support you best with today's work.
Yeah. Any still got questions too?
All right. You can go, Annie, you can go next.
Hello again. Now, I've been a bit presumptuous and I've put the map of consciousness in the chat because only because I had it in our newsletter in August. So I just thought if people wanted to have a look at it. And it's a David Hawkins one too, if people want to take it. And the other thing is that you reminded me, because I've been getting a little bit of vertigo, which I've had it earlier on in the year and it went away. And it hasn't been as bad. And I realised it's been since I've been wearing the pendant, which is obviously my body recalibrating too. So thank you for reminding me that that's what it was, because I kept thinking, now why am I feeling like that? So thank you. I can vouch for these. These are just amazing. Thank you for organising to make them.
Geez, Annie, and all this time I thought it was me helping you. All the time.
Don't think so.
Bloody hell. Geez, okay, love, back to the drawing board.
Rob.
We're all in it together, Rob.
And you're still living down with Bev. She's got the tower in there.
Yes.
That'll be doing a similar sort of thing as well.
Rob and Annie.
We've got 2 towers down here. It's pretty.
We've got our travel buddy, which is great. And we're actually in a room where there's an electricity board and another something else, I don't know, on the wall, and which is unavoidable. So it's just great having the protection and we've got all all of these too, and we're surrounded by them, which is great. And we've both been pretty well. We haven't been affected by the EMFs or anything else that's going on. So
that's good to hear.
We're still here. We'll be there soon. Hanging out.
Well, we're waiting for you to get back to New South Wales.
All right.
Yes, we're going to. Okay, thank you. I'll let Sue go.
We've got a program that Travel Buddy help us with that. I just realised. Go to our tower. I must say, when you do the healings, because I've had a few there. When you do them, sometimes I think nothing's happened. But funny how it gets better.
Yeah,
it just sort of happens, But the skeptic in me, and I've got to beat this. It's still. I don't believe in quantum mechanics and quantum physics, but I still think, come on, how does it find me? But it does, of course, it does. But how can it really find me? But I've got no doubt. I have no doubt. I know it, but gee, sometimes I got to remind myself to, because I'm aware that if I don't keep believing that, I can block it.
Do you think it bumps into like 1,000 people from here to you?
Sorry?
Does it bump into 1,000 people on its path to you, or up into the sky and straight to Rob? Or
the other thing, Rob, is to think about is that we're probably most of us sitting here with wireless computers on a EMF background that signs us, and even if we don't believe in that, it still gets to us. So some of this
does too. Yes, it does.
And some of this healing is a bit deeper than just we can block it, because you can't be aware of it not coming or coming at any point of the time, and you don't know exactly when we're going to send it to you.
Yeah, we just sneak it in there.
Yeah. But it reminded me what Annie said, because she didn't realize that the little thing was working for her, and all of a sudden it is, and it's working. Sometimes it's because you don't get sick and you just don't realize that that's what's doing it.
Yeah,
find pretty powerful stuff though.
Thanks. We try to be that way.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get Sue. She's got a question. Can I bounce another question at you? I have, looking in absolute joy at your website, where you have these gorgeous pages of lovely remedies that have the most exotic names and the most beautiful connections to things beautiful. How does one, if, I'm choosing at the moment now to be a regular healing plan, because I think after you did that amazing work with me last year, it made me realize that I actually need to, continue this beautiful work on a regular basis to support myself. The combination of being on a healing plan and then just being drawn to these beautiful remedies, like at the moment, I'm just absolutely loving the one that medical cannabis one, it is bringing such incredible relief to sore hips and sore joints that honestly, it's my go-to. Do I create any issues by using, it's an intuitive response to your lovely creams and lotions and potions and drops, if at the same time actually being looked after by you guys on an energetic level, on a healing plan?
No, there's no issue with that. The remedies that we send out for people to use at home are complementary to the healing plans, and they don't cause any problems.
Okay, so one can quietly just enjoy both of them and not worry about creating any opportunities for conflict.
You can suck on your medicinal.
Sorry, honey, I missed you there.
You can use your medicinal. Whatever you want. It's a great one.
Thank you. It is the most amazing treatment that it really is lovely. So thank you for that. And then just also to say, my little pendant is losing its beautiful pattern on it. Is that a problem?
We'll replace that for you when we see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that we've got.
Why is that an issue?
Oh, they still work. Like if you really look at, yeah, no, they still work as long as you can see it, and they sit down underneath. The second engraving lot, we got deeper.
We had them go deeper with the engraving,
which took us more work.
We didn't realize it kind of rubs off, but you can see it, and that is the battery for the charging.
That's not the battery; it's the charger. It's just one of the sacred geometry symbols that were found that work. Now we went through thousands of different sacred geometry symbols to find a few that actually worked and powered things, and the shell is one, lucky enough, and there's a couple others, but a lot of them, some of them work, some of them don't, some of them work on varying degrees, and if you go down some of these rabbit holes, there's been actually two different types of those symbols, and one lot I haven't got onto a proper lot of the original type, but they reckon they were adjusted back at some point during history to give us two different runs of sacred geometry symbols. Yeah.
Okay.
Something.
All right. So the actual shell is almost like the battery pack in a way.
Yeah, it's
the actual shell symbol on the on the disc.
Yeah, it's got the accumulate.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That's so good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will bring you another one up to replace that. Just so you have one that's working 100%.
I'm happy to pay for it, Kath. I really am, darling.
Anyway, all right, that's good.
Oh, dear.
Any more questions on our list?
Yes. Yes. Who's next?
You got a question there or not?
Hello, Kathy and Eric. How are you?
Good. Who have we got?
Wanda.
Wanda. Oh, hi. How are you going, Bill?
Good, thanks. So my question is, if you got the remedies, can you put those remedies on a photo of somebody else and will it work? Or do you need that machine that you've got?
If you use your card as a drive, you could use like one of our silver cards or gold cards or a pendant as a driver, and you can then put a photo on and transfer that remedy to someone else if you want to. Only thing, it has to be shaken, so it won't last for very long. So you give it a shake, put it on it, and it'll last for a couple of hours, and then you might have to reshake it again if you want a multiple dose. A dose is what's given in the moment. So if you do that and put it on for 5 minutes, it's no different to a dose that goes all night sort of thing.
Yeah.
So a dose is what's given in a moment. The length of that dose doesn't matter. It's just what's given in the moment.
Yeah. So I wonder if you got your card picture first.
Card underneath.
Card underneath, picture on top, and then the remedy. And even if you just left it for 5 minutes, then took the remedy away,
you would have broadcast a dose.
I'll just put the bottle of the remedy on top.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Not a couple of drops on top. Okay, yeah, because I was just thinking if like your friend's horse had colic or a dog had a tick on it or something, you could use the remedy distance just to try and help it recover quickly. That's
Yeah.
so okay. And you just your either your gold card or your blue shell card, one of those.
Yeah.
When you say your card.
Yep.
Yeah,
They got to drive in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They could do that on the travel buddy.
Yeah.
You could use your travel buddy as
who
well.
doesn't have one, but a lot of these people are there.
Yeah, anyone who's got a travel buddy, you can broadcast it the same
Yeah.
way. And that you might even
Okay.
broadcast stronger, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the beginning, Eric, when you were talking about your history, you said you went to somebody's homeopathic, a friend's or family's homeopathic, and you started learning there. And then you said you couldn't go there anymore because they didn't like what you were doing. So just out of curiosity, what was it that they didn't like what you were doing?
Well, we were making it simple for the average person.
Yeah, and she wasn't teaching us. We were actually going to her for treatment.
Yeah. But yeah, we the basic kits like the beginner's kit and extension kit and all that, they were simplex and labelled in a way that if you use them with what they're labelled for, you'll get results pretty quickly. And it just was undermining some of the homeopathics principles. And we know they can do a lot more than what they're labelled for. And
Yeah.
for a long time, we've had people ask us questions, what can we use? And we'll muscle test what they've got available. We now teach people to muscle test or to dowse. That's why there's dowsing videos there and stuff. So you can dowse through. You don't need to know all the information. You just need to know it works. Yeah. And then if you're curious, go digging down the rabbit hole. The names are on the boxes and the label, and go do some research, and then you can work out what it was worked, why it's worked, and what it's worked on, and teach yourselves and grow and learn, because knowledge and this sort of knowledge should be paramount for everyone to move forward and understand. And those beginning, like even being able to treat distantly and whatever you can do, just lend a remedy and treat something instantly, sort of thing. Sometimes physical is better than distantly for some instances, and look, it's just grow and learn. Sometimes treating trough water, if you've got a mob of animals, will work really great, but it won't stay active for long. So you've got to work out ways to...
And every animal has to drink from it.
Yeah, and every animal's got to drink it. So in a weaning process, if you've got 100 calves, I'll go agriculture on this, but say you've got 100 calves in a set of yards and they just left mum and they're a bit in grief, just putting in the water is not going to do it, because not everyone's going to drink it, and it's not going to last for... You've got to treat it every few hours, sort of thing. Where if you walk them up the race and spray them on the nose with a diluted bottle or with a little spray bottle, you can treat that grief instantly and make the change across the yard in an instant. So yeah, it's sometimes physical is great, sometimes distance is quite satisfactory. Yeah, it's just something that we've learnt over how many years, over 20 years or 25 years, of what's the best process at the time.
Oh yeah, and if it doesn't work, then you just do something different.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, you've done nothing. You
Yeah.
just use something else.
Do something different.
So back at the beginning, when we were doing plans, you were sending us the little pill tablets, and we were giving them to us. So I've got like an ice cream full of ones because you gave so many. So what could we do with them? Have you
taught yourself to muscle test?
Sorry?
Yeah. You taught yourself to muscle test or dowse?
I haven't muscle tested for ages, so but could go through and muscle test if you're not feeling well to see which one.
Yeah, or your animals, or
make a list, like put them in some sort of order, and make a list of what you've got to test through the list rather than flicking packets of pillules around, and then that will work more effectively.
And then just go find it and
But definitely they can be used. If they're homeopathic remedies, you'll be able to research their uses online if that's of interest to you.
Yeah. I just was helping a lady with a tower today that had trouble. She's on the thing here somewhere. And suggested that she cleaned up a bit of problem with some chemicals with some of those pillules.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a shame to not be able to use them.
Yeah. You really should use them. So yeah, if you've got them sitting in the cupboard, make a little list perhaps put them in some sort of order. So, you know, even if you grab all the A's and stick a rubber band around them, and that way you can utilize them as you go. And muscle testing will allow you to use the obscure ones, the ones that aren't straight homeopathic. You might not know why you have to use it, but it'll allow you to access them as well.
Accept, take notes, and observe.
If you're really keen, take notes on what comes up and, you know, what's been happening. It's a really interesting process.
And observe the
and if it's for like one of your horses or animals or a friend or really to have the picture, if it's not for yourself but for someone else, have the picture with in front of you as well.
It's a good focus point. I mean, you could imagine them in your mind, but for us, it keeps you focused when you're asking the question.
If something happens on TV and you look up there, you're not actually focused on that picture, and the picture brings you back to that attention pretty quickly, and that's where you need to be focused for that piece of time. So how did we go with that?
Okay. Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
So Honor has got another question there.
Hey, Honor, you ready to go again?
Oh, who have we got here?
It's Sid. My husband, Sid.
Hey, Sid.
Hi, Groovers.
Groovers.
I was just thinking.
Yeah, we're old hippies from way back.
Peace with you, man. When you're placing a tower, do you place it like in the middle of a ley line? Because we've had a dowser here, friend, and he's found we had a pyramid in our studio, and he doused in the studio, and right over where we put the pyramid, it's a pyramid of Cheops sort of shape. He said it was a water coming from the Dandenongs, the water underground from the Yuyangs.
And it crossed under our studio. So we put the pyramid with the copper hood and the big crystal right over the cross. And then everyone wanted to sit and lie and everything in our pyramid. So we knew there was power there. But Sid's got a question for you, Eric, about the level of water.
Yeah, we put it, because we're on quite a big steep hill here. Would you put it where the sort of the vortex area is, or shifting? Because we've shifted the pyramid up here, and it's sort of like we've doused for it, but we sort of find like after we found these what do you call the vortexes?
Yeah.
Would you put it near that, or would you put it?
I know you're going to come here in October, but we're just curious to experiment before you come.
Yeah, look, there's lots of different ideas and different thoughts about it. I don't like actually putting an energy device above water, because it drains the energy out of the device underground. So water will drag energy away, and so will, like, what do they call them? Cracks in rocks and all that sort of thing through surface. Fissures through structures and stuff like that. So I keep it real basic. Like, I'm a pretty basic fella. Just I asked for the best spot for this.
Why do you think everyone wanted to? Why do you think everyone wanted to sit in that spot?
Oh, that's okay. It
well,
could.
We had.
And that's fine. If it's working, it's working. It might not be where the tower goes, but if that's working for the pyramid, that's fine.
Pyramid. Yeah, we've moved it now.
Yeah, pyramid.
Yeah, so we've done that for about 40 years.
Yeah.
And we're moving it now after 40 years because we've moved next door. Yeah.
A skeptical lady came into the studio, and she was pretty timid, and she said, "Oh, I don't like that tower." So she put her foot in about a foot.
It's a very big pyramid because the studio is very big. And so we just said to her, try it, you know. So she went, "Oh, I'll put my foot in there."
About half an hour later, she
went, "Oh, I'm going all tingly."
And that
was really cute.
Yeah, right on the like the angle of the pyramid through a leg.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
fascinating.
It is fascinating, but there's like I have seen like paramagnetic earth towers and different things put in places that people overthink it sometimes, and they get mixed up with different lines, and they can place them in the wrong spot. So I keep it as simple as possible, just the most ideal spot for this tower on this block.
Yeah, because there seems to be quite a few different spots here, different sort of energies, quite different. It's not just one, like the middle of a paddock or something. You go, oh, that's a nice spot there. That is the spot. But this one, there's sort of like there's
ancient middens here because our Indigenous people here were here only 180 years ago. We've got beautiful middens and shells from freshwater fish and everything. And so we know the energy was high for corroboree energy or celebration of original people. But we think there's several vortices, and we just, you'll work it out when you come. We'll just keep playing until we meet you.
Right. Sounds good. Sounds like interesting.
It's a lot of fun, and it's kind of fascinating, and it's just exciting all in one. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And we have noticed the birds have come more. Actually, some of the birds are starting to eat the house. Like
remember when we first got the travel buddies and we were writing to you about the cockatoos? Well, they went away after we did what you said.
And they chomped a hole through the cedar, through one of the...
Through the bedroom. They cut a hole through the bedroom. You know, the sulphur crested go berserk at this time of year because it's mating season and all the youngsters are kicked out of the nest. And so all the young buck go eating all our plants and stuff. So we've got to enclose everything.
They went away and then they've sort of come back now, haven't they? And the kangaroos have come closer.
They come right up onto the veranda.
Yeah.
Like right where we live. They're right here.
Yeah. Interesting.
Pretty amazing.
So sometimes the intent you need to take off and put back on again, sort of thing.
I think we have to redo it. Yeah, good advice.
Yeah, I found one in the kitchen the other day at the table eating some brekkie. So I thought that was too close.
For a
He's
bird.
so naughty. Listen to him. Over and out.
Right, yeah. All right.
Oh, funny. All right.
Now, did we miss someone there before that had a pendant on?
I don't know. Anybody else have any more questions? We're getting along. Oh, it's been there an hour, so that's pretty good.
It's going all right. Yeah. Yep. Oh, it looks like we've answered all the questions tonight, and they're all.
There's one question in Kathy. There's one question in the chat from Raylene.
Oh yes,
or for Eric maybe to answer.
Thanks.
Was it the question about what reading material? Is that the?
Yes. Yep. That hasn't been answered yet.
Oh, sorry. I answered it on the chat. So Raylene asked what sort of where she would go for reading material. Back when we were introduced to homeopathic remedies, I just grabbed every homeopathic remedy, every homeopathic book I could, so secondhand shops, libraries, and I just read them. And they pretty much have the same information in each one, but
different people got a different slant.
Yeah, slants, and it really explains how the vibrational remedies work, and within them they have information about the basic remedies, and I found that fascinating just as a starting point. And if you have remedies at home, then you can read about different people's views on them and how people use them. That's where I started, because homeopathy has the best research, the best information about why vibrational remedies work. So that's where I would start. And
then over time we've got books.
We have so many
books, from The Secret Life of Plants to The Divine Matrix to you name it. There's books there in the background, that even some new ones, some Jerry Tennant stuff, and just whoever's got a different chain of thought and different way to look at things and look at life. We're lucky we've put a good foundation together that we can muscle test, and the instrument we've got, we can muscle test out of anything and treat with just about anything with different ways we use. So whatever you can read that you're stretching your mind a bit. Don't worry too much about Rudolf Steiner. He's probably a bit hard for most of us to read. But if you want a good night's sleep, you can read Rudolph Steiner. But the rest of the time, stay in the bit more up to date stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jill Turlin's book. She's got a book on megapotencies of homeopathy. So dealing with deep emotional traumas, inherited trauma. Her book on megapotencies is really good. She's had someone rip that off. So if you order it through her, at least you know you're not getting a
copy.
A ripped off version of it, but very good. She's a very interesting lady.
And what was that one you got the other day, that American bloke? That was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, I've got a book on homeopathic detox therapy where he uses the same remedy in different potencies to achieve a specific detox. And that was really interesting as well. There's homeopathic books out there on garden and farming and whatever takes your interest. Yeah. There's some great ones on animals.
George McLeod and these animal books.
George McLeod's great for farming and also for dogs and cats.
Yeah.
So whatever you're interested in, do that. If there's a remedy that catches your eye, we're happy to make it for you. You can have a little play with it. You can't hurt anything. I think that's the big key. It's not like Western medicine. If you have a go and the remedy's the wrong remedy, it just won't work. It's very rare for you to actually cause. Well, you won't. If you cause a reaction, it's a healing reaction.
And that gives you the flexibility and the confidence. And as the potency goes up, the target gets smaller. And so when you get higher and higher in potency, the target gets smaller. So if you miss, you miss. If you use low potency and push it sideways, then it can cause a few issues here and there, just because it changes the symptoms. But when you get into higher potencies, and we always try to work with higher potencies for ourselves because they give the most profound healing. But if you get it right, healing can happen instantly and deep and profound. But if you get the wrong remedy, well, there's no damage, no harm. But you just need watch the symptoms and go again, sort of thing, and get a bit more accurate. And that's why we stopped making assumptions and reading. And the research comes from what we find, not the other way around. Not the other way around, which is what I think.
Yes.
Question up in the corner, Kathy.
Oh, hello, guys.
John and Teresa, is it?
You'll have to unmute yourselves.
Are they frozen?
I don't know.
Hi.
Hi. So fun, isn't it?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
How much would you use bush fluorescences, and what kind or what brand do you use, or do you have your own?
We test through the bush fluorescences for our healing plans.
We've got a lot of codes for bush fluorescences.
Yeah, and they do come up sometimes, but we've collected the fluorescences from around the world to add to our testing. So the bush flower ones don't come up as a priority, probably any more than any of the other fluorescences. And then we make our own. Our instrument will make them.
Yeah. So like every country, like Australia's got the bush flower, and New Zealand's got their ferns and the things like that. Iceland's got their flowers, and Americans and Indians got their essences. So every plant, and if you go into, Rob mentioned before, quantum physics and quantum entanglement, and every plant has its own vibration. So you can walk around your backyard and the dandelion and all that sort of stuff. There's lots of things available to you that if you can make them into energy remedies, they'll help you on different scales. So rather than limit just to one group or one name of existence, we test out of everything. So it's very hard to say. They'll come up, bush fluorescences, there's gems in everything.
For sure.
It's just not one, and it might not be that one we need at the time.
Do you guys use bush fluorescences?
Yeah, we use the Australian bush essences by Ian White, and when we lived in the UK years ago, it was the Bach flower remedies, the original Bach remedy, but then they changed hands and it became different. And then there was a lady in Findhorn. She made her own. I think she was an Australian girl who studied under Ian, and she did the Findhorn Foundation bush essence as well over there, like flower essence. So I've tried those, and we've got a homeopathic kit, a travel kit, and the big kit for home. And we're treating our cat at the moment. She's got a bit of a urinary tract infection, so we're just trying her with. We've got the what's the device we use on her?
Biomedic.
Biomedics from Simon. We've got that on laying next to her, and we've also given her homeopathics today. So yeah, just to see how she goes.
Which remedy?
Yeah, but it's great. I gave her catharsis. Yeah. Sorry. Catharsis. Yeah. I gave her that. I just felt right, and she seems to have been settled this afternoon. So yeah.
Good job. That takes.
And I've just. Sorry.
The cantharis will take the stinging away, so it will really calm them.
Yeah. That's what we just felt that. And we treat them, the dog and cat, both with homeopathics and essences and clays. We've been into this stuff for a long time too, so it's yeah.
That's good.
We've got your travel buddy up here on the right behind John.
All right. Yep.
Yep.
That's good.
Lynn sent Lynn up your way when she was. Yeah, Lynn and Jenny picked up ours for us and brought it back for us.
That's great.
Yeah.
That was a good afternoon.
You could, wherever the cat is curled up, you could just pop the travel buddy around in that area.
I should, yeah. And our garden's gone nuts. So all the seeds we put, organic seeds in our garden last September, nothing happened. And when we got the travel buddy, we've got lettuce, tomatoes. We've just got so many veggies that didn't grow last year, and they've just popped up everywhere. Yeah. We've just got one lemon tree that has a problem, so we'll have to work out that one.
Yeah, well, if you've got a fair few tools on hand, just teach yourself to dowse or muscle test them and go into the unconscious to work it out, like get your head out of the way and let what you've got available to you work. It doesn't matter. We started off muscle testing out of a small range of remedies, and it doesn't matter whether you got 50 or 100 to test out of or 30,000 to test out. If you're going to get some reasonable results and get the best remedy you got on hand at the time.
Yeah. So you could take your kids out to your plant. Do you guys muscle test or douse? And you could douse over them and see which one the plant needs.
Okay.
Dosing, yes, we don't do muscle testing.
We should do more, because we should. I mean, when I was doing massage years ago, there was different types of muscle testing with the finger and then the surrogate testing. But now that we've been doing the bush essence with Ian White, it's really because he does kinesiology and touch for health and all that as well. So yeah, it's good.
So when you work out what your plant needs, just put a couple of drops or a pillule into a glass of water, give it a stir, and then
pour it around. The root.
We've got those wasps, you know, they're a wasp that make it bulbous in the tree.
Yep.
So I don't know what's happened.
There's a gold wasp, Teresa.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Prune it a little bit, darling, but don't over prune it. We've got rid of ours. Sid wrecked one lemon tree by over pruning it.
I cut them all out, and then there was this beautiful shoot came, and I thought, you little boomer, and it came bigger and bigger and bigger. Then the bloody frost got it, and it killed the whole plant. So someone said you can also leave some instead of having to cut them all out or something like that. You know?
Yeah. They're all over Australia, so it's a matter of give and take, I think.
Yeah.
The vibrational remedies will adjust the healing will adjust the vibration of the plant, and it will naturally get rid of them. So that's worth looking into before you go chopping everything up.
Yeah. Exactly. It's probably, we've got next door to us, we have a business that's kids that have been over-vaxxed and non-verbal, and it's interesting that where we are, and they spray everything, like, you know, they spray their weeds, and they've got kids on these outdoor climbing things. It's a occupational therapy for children. But it's interesting because some of the non-verbal kids talk to the birds in our trees. You know, they're just cockatoos will speak back to the children.
Oh,
And then
wow.
the kids start mimicking. Yeah, so it's quite interesting watching that. So whether the spray from them has got the lemon tree, I'm not sure. I can't really say, but yeah.
Yeah, just the immune
Might be.
system. The energy side of stuff is very interesting, and it's hard to spray drift and the tower, the travel buddy would be helping your energy in your space, but there's probably a lot of healing work to do in the soil and the ground from years of
Yeah.
load and things like that. So that's a whole nother discussion as we go forward. But
yeah, because we've been here 20 years and we haven't sprayed anything. And then when we put the garden beds in, we bought organic soil to put in there as well. We've used organic, yeah. So, and we try and, I know it's not great, the rainwater, but it's better than tap water. So,
yeah.
But for your water in the garden, yeah.
You're doing everything you can.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Well, we've had a good night.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any more questions before we?
Yeah, we'll go another sort of 10 minutes and
honor and sit back.
Honor and sit.
You right, guys?
Would you guys have a remedy for? We got a lemon tree in a pot plant, like a beautiful lemon tree. We had these 2 beautiful lemons, and a rat came and took. This is going to pick them the next day. So, is there anything to stop a rat?
Like
you can put
something to dissuade mice and rats.
We put a little sign, but they couldn't read.
Actually in the travel buddy, the intent has got a bit to do with that sort of thing. You can
so
put,
if we put the travel buddy in the pot where the lemon, it's a little mini luscious lemon, one of those very sweet lemons. So I'm thinking travel buddy goes into the pot.
No, you can do it where it is. You can just put a photo of the lemon tree there. And when the big mouse plague was on, this is interesting.
I really want to tell this story.
A few years ago.
Not rats.
Not rats.
Big mice, not rats.
Yeah.
The super mice.
What happened?
We were getting invaded. We weren't too bad, but we had a few mice coming around. So I wrote an intent and put on a real early version of the card and to get them off our property. And anyway, I didn't think much of it. We weren't getting too many mice. And next thing, I was talking to the neighbour a couple of days later, and he says, "We're being hammered with mice down here. They're coming in the doors everywhere."
So it worked.
And anyway, so I didn't say anything, but but the power intent, as long as you got drive or something that you can broadcast it with, which you have with the travel buddy or even your pyramid, you can change things quite substantially. But just be pretty pure and pretty careful with how you write it. Do no harm. Leave a few around.
And would you spray it? Like, would you spray homeopathics on the tree, Eric and Kathy?
To get rid of the rats? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, mice.
It's a big mouse. We don't know if it's a rat or a big mouse, to be honest, because we haven't seen it. We've just seen the damage.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if you could spray a homeopathic on the tree itself.
Well, there is a really good homeopathic book, and he talks about ways to get rid of cockroaches and ants and rats and all those things by spraying homeopathic remedies. So I think you probably could.
In caviar, yeah.
What would be the best deterrent then? What would you suggest as a deterrent?
No, we'll have to have a look at later for you, owner. And
okay.
Yeah, it's. And
I'll look up our kit.
Yeah, look up what you got and thing. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more question. You know, we had a lady who was giving us massages every now and then, and she had a whole great big set of oils.
Yep.
And she said, what's right? She looked at us, and then she did her dowsing rods over them all, and it crossed on the right one. Is that sort of like? Is that the way you would do homeopathic sometime if you're carrying a kit around?
Yeah. Look, same sort of principle. Yeah. It's the same principle. Just what's needed in this moment for this article. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty simple. It's the same for whatever you're doing, whether you use dowsing rods or whether you just hold a pendulum and let it stop over, swing and stop over top sort of thing. So, yep, here we go. Kathy's gone and got a book.
I got my book.
But
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate it. What did you find?
So he says alum seeper, which is the vibration of red onion, or mentha, which is spearmint. So
yes, all right, good. Got both of those.
Oh, good. There you go.
Yeah, Elliot.
Mix them up
and mentha.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Sorry for so many questions.
So many jokes.
All righty, good on you. So we'll go for another 10 minutes or so, and then we might be nearly enough tonight. That's everyone's had a bit of an interesting time. I hope we haven't missed more messages down here. We've got more questions.
Okay, let me have a look. Oh, Dolores Cannon.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
We love Dolores Cannon.
Her books and her information. Yeah.
Can you use pendulum in place of muscle testing? You can. It's just a lot slower.
Yeah, you can. It depends on what you're trying to test out of, what quantities and things like that. Pendulum is quite effective, but when you start looking at the scale of what we're dealing with, it's just way too slow. So if you've only got 20 or 30 or 40 things to go over, pendulum's quite fine.
Yeah.
And if you've got confidence in that, that'll work quite well.
We do have a really good pendulum chart. So if anybody's interested in getting that, just give me a yell and I'll send it to you. It's a -10 through to +10. So you can actually get variance, like gradients on your answers rather than just a yes and no.
Yeah, and that's very helpful. Oh, it's on our the pendulum course too. You can I think you can download it off that. Yeah. What is the most profound healing you've seen in all the years of healing? Well, there's been hundreds of different stories over the time, Paula. It's one of the early ones, I suppose, which brought us around to using things on stock a lot more, was we had a cow with a retained placenta, and I'd call Kathy down to the yards and, what can you do here? And we put
it was so early. We'd probably only a couple.
Yeah, back in 2000, like it was 25 years ago. Like it was very, very. And I put a pulsatilla, it would have been a 1M, on this cow's nose, and the placenta had been there for a while, so it wasn't real pretty, but it dropped out on the ground within seconds. Before you could turn around, the body had changed enough frequency that it dropped on the ground instantly. So
it was amazing.
Yeah. And look, there's been, like, we love to get stories from anyone we work on that have got good stories, because it's a bit quiet in the office at times. So any stories are good, but there's been hundreds over the years, and just little ones come through, but you could sit here for hours and talk about them.
Yeah, I remember we had a gentleman, not many clients come to visit us, but this guy drove down. He just wanted to chat. I think he wanted to come from Toowoomba or somewhere. And he had a cancer and a tumor growing in his esophagus. And the process is that they remove the tumor and the esophagus and they lift everything up. So essentially your intestines are up under your
rib cage. Yeah.
Anyway, he'd spoken to a friend who'd had the surgery, and he said, I would rather be dead than have that surgery. And we did 2 plans on him. He went back to the doctors, had the scan, and the tumor was 90% gone. And the doctor's like, we'll still do the surgery. And he's like, yeah, I don't think so. But to have that, validated by actually having scans to see it was pretty amazing. I really like those stories because, as much as we've stepped away from the science can still give us the visuals of what's going on.
And quite often we'll go down a path of information and we'll form our own sort of thoughts and beliefs or ideas around those sorts of information. And then you'll stumble across some confirmation from a scientific report or some other direction, totally, we wouldn't even know it was there. 6 months later, it'll show up that someone's found this or someone's done that. And it just really confirms that we're on the right path with a lot of the stuff we're doing. And we think, we've been doing that for 6 months or 12 months. So yeah, lots of different ones over the time. There's animals are really easy. You get big healings on animals and it shows up because they haven't got any drama to deal with. Most of them, it's just the physical healings that show you really quick and profound results.
I love the stories when, you know, the vet or the doctor has sent people home, an animal's home, going, no, just go home, you're not going to live. And then, you know, a couple of weeks later, they're still running around and they're well and happy. I just love that, you know. They've given up on them.
Yep.
And yet vibrational medicine can heal them. And
we had a kelpie years ago they had at the University of Queensland, and they were trying to work out what it was, and we did a few plans on it, and so they didn't have a research subject anymore. So some of those things are just quite what's the word?
Exceptional, surprising, amazing.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Hey,
Can I take you up a little bit on something you said there, Kathy?
Yeah.
You said you've stepped away from the science a little bit. Well, you actually haven't. You've stepped into more cutting edge science, because what you're talking about is quantum science. You've stepped away from the traditional science, but you haven't stepped back. You've stepped on. Yeah, and that's very important, because quite seriously, when you take in quantum science and look at the entanglement and everything, this stuff is totally scientific, and it's actually explaining phenomena, which it's scientifically explaining phenomena. Well, the scientists can explain this phenomena in ways it's never been able to be explained before, because this stuff was just all science used to say, oh no, that doesn't happen, but science now says, oh, quantum science can explain this. So you're actually putting into practice the cutting edge quantum sciences. So stepped away from science. You've stepped on from the traditional science into the more cutting edge science.
Yeah, but we probably don't look at it in the same light as a bloke through a magnifying glass, or through a, what they call them, microscope. That's the word. And that sort of thing. We use other tools to get there, but the other
a microscope can't handle the science because it's too small.
Yeah,
this is smaller than that. This is more than nanoscience. And you're not looking at it and studying it so much. You're just putting it into practice. Yeah, you're just experiencing, just using it, and you are actually using it in a really big way. And I think it adds you credibility to when we sort of know that, yeah, this is not bullshit. This is scientific.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Rob.
So just my 2 cents worth.
We're just having a go.
Yeah.
Can I come in here? Hello, Kathy and Eric. This is Sally from South Wales here in UK.
Sally!
Hey! Yeah, I know, I got down with it. Anyway, I've got 2 problems at the moment with our herd. We've got one tongue, which we don't seem to be able to cure homeopathically. We always end up giving them an antibiotic. And we're down with TB for 2 years now, which is absolutely devastating over here because it's just controlling our lives. Wondered if you had any sort of, because we've got our power towers and we don't seem to be winning at the moment. So we're doing something wrong somewhere. I've been, somebody suggested colloidal silver to me, using that. I don't know. So any suggestions?
Oh, well, I think you've got a beautiful Mark III remedy maker over there, Sally, that you could.
I have, yeah. I'm just still scared of it. I'm still scared of it, and I don't use it enough.
Yeah, I think
this is my problem.
Yeah, there's probably ways that, not in the traditional homeopathic way, but in the processes we use, that you could do different things with the blue tongue and even the TB stuff. But you do have to get
it's the wooden tongue we've got. It's not the blue tongue, it's the wooden tongue. It gets underneath the chin.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Wooden tongue, yeah.
We don't get much of it here, but yeah, so you need to, it's probably something we can talk about one other night on a Zoom meeting, Sally, but there's processes around it, and Kathy will.
Well, you're coming our way, aren't you?
Oh, we're thinking about it, yeah.
Next,
you're going to come out next year.
It's been a fair while since we were out there last time, Sally. It was great to see you.
So Sally, I'm assuming you've used the tuberculosis nosode.
Yeah, botulinum, tuberculinum. Yeah, but as I say, we've had it for 2 years now. But I hate to say this, but I got no confidence in the way they're conducting themselves on this one. I think they're just trying to get rid of us farmers, basically. But anyway, I'm determined that we aren't going to go. So, we've got to get rid of it somehow. But yeah, it's a real worry over here in the UK is the tuberculinum.
Yeah. And
it seems to be, it's in the wildlife, and we can't, they won't let us control the wildlife. So, we aren't breaking the circle, if you like. So it's, they're taking our cows, but they're not controlling the wildlife. Badgers, basically. So it's a sore subject over here anyway.
Yep. No,
so we need to cure the badgers, don't we?
There's that
really. If we can cure the badgers.
That's right. You got to cure like basically the environment and the animals and your stock as well, not just your stock. So can be done, but it's a fair program we'd have to think about and work out how to do that. But I've got a fair idea what needs to be done, but it's a bit hard.
Do you want Sally to send us a photo?
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a fair idea what needs to be done, and you've got to work on your whole property and your whole area. So we'll have to tell you how to do that and help you through that process.
Well, we might organise a Zoom.
Yep.
Through privately.
It's more that little instrument you've got there. You can probably get most of it under control, but you've got to stretch your brain, your mind capacity to work with it.
Stop staring at me.
That's all good, Sally. Thank you.
We'll get it sorted. Oh dear. Hey, Raylene.
Hi, Kathy, Eric. I've just got a quick question. Well, it's probably not a quick question, but I just wondered. We've got a close friend that's just been given a pretty heavy diagnosis, and he's got a blood cancer. He's only 52. And I just wonder, you've got any advice on how to talk to people about alternative treatment? I think just because I don't have a lot of knowledge, I find it hard to know what to say because I think, oh, what's that? And I'm like, oh, don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, and a lot of people get that way. Probably best to give them a card, look these people, look at their website and make your own decision.
Yep.
But you're never going to convince someone that doesn't want to do it. And if they're open to looking, well, then they can follow up. And you say, look these people up. I've used them. They've getting good results. And the ball's got to be in their court, because if they don't want to change, they don't want to change. If they're ready to look for a change, well, then there's a chance we can do something. And depends on where you are. We've got someone else we work with that's been doing a lot of cancer stuff too. And he's more hands-on and more diet changes and things like that, and getting some good results. But when they're ready, they're ready. You can only sow seeds. And as hard as that sounds, we've had a lot of people come to us over the years that said, oh, I've tried and tried and tried, and they're bashing their heads against a brick wall. But when they're ready, they're ready. And sow seeds and see what happens, and just follow up a couple of weeks later. Did you look those people up? They're still there. They're still working, and there's little things like that. Chip. And don't get into a full-on discussion and try and explain it, because a lot of it's out there with the unknown.
So what have the doctors got a plan? Doctors have a plan?
No, it's I think it's called, no, they're just basically, he only got, he started, he had back pain, it started in about April this year, and then he must have had to get some blood tests done for something. And when they did the blood test, they told him, and this was on the 6th of August, they told him to go straight to hospital. And I think he got the diagnosis on the 18th of this month, and they basically told him that there was nothing that they could do except for some trial stuff.
Well, you know,
and
you're in a place where he's looking for options now, so you actually have a ground to sort of step from. Whereas if the doctor's got a whole plan for him, and yes, we'll do chemo, we'll do radiation, but he hasn't got those options. So you're just presenting him with something he might like to look into. Our friend who does the cancer healing, that is pretty much all he does, and he's renowned across Australia for it. And it's very secret squirrel business. You've got to get his number, and he'll ask you who sent you, and but he's achieved some amazing healing with cancers. He uses some of our remedies as well, but
just
does a lot of lifting the pH levels of the body and adjusting the diet. He's very clever with it. So maybe together, or you'd just be happy to talk with this fellow. But all you can do is offer up options.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely tell him about you guys and ask him, suggest he gives it a crack. He's in a lot of pain, and he told John on the weekend that he just wants to go home and die because he just can't stand the pain that he's in. So it's just awful. So maybe he will.
Yeah. He doesn't know. He doesn't know he has options until people present them to him. So
that's right. Yeah. No, thank you.
Well, good luck with him. Yeah.
Talk to you later, Del.
Thank you.
How are we going?
I think we're going pretty good.
We're worn them down.
Stop it. I don't think you can talk like that. All right. Any more questions?
One new message there.
No. Joe Dispenza meditation course.
Yeah, we look into it. We've listened to a bit of
that. Might be for Raylene's friend.
Yeah. All right. Yep.
I'm not sure.
Yep.
I think that's about it. Unless anyone's got anything else they want to share or ask.
No, nothing. We've worn them out. That's good.
Awesome.
Just massive gratitude to you both for what you're doing for us and the world, honeys. You are amazing. So thank you.
I would second that one.
Thank you.
Very sweet.
We do too. It's awesome. Fantastic.
So we'll see how
people should be part of it.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think a lot of people are talking. We're very, very busy at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to make you busier. You wait and see.
Thank you. Thanks for your time tonight, guys. Have a good night.